But let's move on to The Voice, and the headline is Vote Yes for Value. Jim's Voice pitch. Jim Chalmers has warned that Australians are not getting value for money from billions of dollars spent on closing the gap, and declared an Indigenous Voice will be a good economic policy that will reverse decades of failure. Now, Christy, I'm not sure that anyone's going to buy this. How about an audit before more expenditure?
Jim Chalmers, sitting there in Queensland, Caro, very much knows that Queensland is, as a state, going in the direction of not supporting The Voice. And why? Very similar to Western Australia, because Queensland and Western Australia have large, remote, regional, Indigenous populations, and the voters of those two states can see the waste of money and, more to the point, women and children who have been crying out for 20, 25 years for basic services like a roof over their head for domestic violence shelters and somewhere safe to sleep at night, that the millions and billions of Indigenous dollars has not yet provided them. And voters of Queensland, as voters of Western Australia, are rightly asking, well, if that is not going to help women and children sleep safely at night in Indigenous communities, what are we voting for?
Yeah, that is a really good point. And Michelle, I just find this is a really interesting change of tact. You know, we keep talking about cost of living, the economy is front of centre. This is a move away from the guilt tripping.
Yeah, I was going to say this is actually really a smart tactic from Jim Chalmers, I'd have to say, because when you look at the Voice to Parliament, there's been a lot of conversation around everything else and what it will mean, but there's not been a lot of conversation about what it means in terms of the pure economics. And I'm sure most people can agree that we do tend to spend or waste a lot of money with these kind of fringe things to Indigenous, when we want to get it into Indigenous communities, but that tends to go into like fringe outliers, and it doesn't really find its way to where the money is needed. So he has kind of taken a really smart tactic here, because he's kind of saying, well, hang on a minute, what we're going to do is we're going to allow an opportunity for this money to get to the right places by forming this kind of board, so to speak. So I thought it was a really smart move on his part.
I think it's one of the smarter moves out of the yes side of the campaign so far.